So a lot of brands are using UGC in today's day, but we're actually leveraging a lot of CGC, which is customer generated content. A lot of our brands are starting to get footage or even videos actually from customers that have used the product, have had positive experience with it, and now we're starting to collect more and more raw footage that we can use directly in our paid ads. So this video I break down the full funnel of how to actually collect more raw assets and how to use it in your paid ads. So UGC is something that has been quite big in the industry when it comes to especially running video ads for your business. Now, what's something that's even more important, or at least more impactful, has been CGC, essentially, which is your customer generated content. And the biggest challenge a lot of brands, or at least businesses, face is how to actually get this content. One, because a lot of customers don't actually like to record content, and two, it is hard to incentivize them enough to get the content, and three, majority of the times, maybe I would say 70 to 80% of the times, the content is actually quite bad. It's either in poor lighting like this, or it is in dark room, bad quality on the phone, whatever it may be. That's usually one of the issues. So this is currently how we do it and how we see success for at least our clients, and it's something I would recommend to do. So Testimonial.to, I thought it was IO, but essentially what they do is allow you to send a link to your customers and collect video testimonials or text testimonials, whatever it may be. You can also do this through like a Google Drive if you want to go for the free route. Essentially figure out how to build a flow and then send them like a Google Drive link. There is a slight more friction when it comes to that, because they have to record the content on their phone and then figure out how to upload it on the Google Drive. And if your demographics above 40 or 50, it can become quite difficult. So for skincare brands that are targeting, or supplement brands that are targeting 40 plus, it can be a bit difficult to get that. But essentially what you want to do is, if you are looking to use Testimonial, then go ahead and set up a free account. You'll be able to create a space, and each space would be for a particular brand. So I've created a dummy space here. You'll have I've blurred out some options here, but essentially you'll have the ability to create like a custom message for your customer, and then ask them a couple of questions that you want them to directly answer on the video. So a lot of these questions are questions that you should think about carefully, because the output is essentially what you're going to want to clip and what you're going to want to use in your ads. So how I would think about it is your inputs are going to equal your outputs. So the quality of your inputs, which are your questions here, are going to determine the quality of your outputs, which are the answers that the customers are essentially going to give you. So you can add up to 5 questions here. I would limit it to 3 to 4 max. Reason being is it can be quite time consuming for them, or they could feel quite uncomfortable. If it is an older demographic, I would recommend having just 2 to 3 questions. Keep it quite simple. Why did you purchase from us? What is something that worked really well for you after purchasing our product? Or what are some changes you've noticed either in your habit or your skin, whatever the product is? I would recommend to ask those questions. So it's very similar to your post-purchase survey questions. And then you can do a combination of video only, text and video, or text only. I solely like to use video only and run that as a test by itself to see what percentage of customers over a 2 to 3 month window, or maybe 2 month window, actually submit a video when they've been sent a link. If it's a really low percentile, figure out what incentive drives them to record the video, or change it to a text and video to encourage people to at least submit some type of review. And at least you can use like a long form review and then run it as like an image ad, which is really helpful. Another thing is, you can also mention that this is going to be used for marketing purposes. So under extra settings, there is usually an ability to add either like a watermark, or add a way to I give permission to use this as a testimonial. So you can link it to your own consent, and that way you're able to use it in your ads, which is quite helpful. So very easy to set up, quite easy. Once you submit it, it shows up as a separate link or URL, and you can directly send that in like an email flow. So this is what the email flow looks like. Again, very easy to execute on. Set it up on Klaviyo, whatever email platform you use. 2 weeks since order. So depending on how quickly you get customer feedback, sometimes it can be longer, but if it's like a consumable, or actually consumables take longer, but if it's like a phone case or something like that, 2 weeks is usually fine. Even less than that. How do you like the product? How's the fit on the iPhone? Whatever it may be. Set up the link to send 2 weeks after they've gotten their order. So once they're using your product, email the customer with the link of the testimonial and request for a video content upload in return for a gift card. So this gift card could be $50 off, $30 off, whatever you deem worthy for the customer or for this piece of content, I would set around $50. Again, it depends on your average order value, but that's something that's worked really well for us. People find it valuable that, hey, I'm getting paid essentially to give someone a piece of content for $50. So I would recommend to do that. Again, quality is going to be super subjective. I think less than 50% of the content might be usable, but again, this determines on your customer. You can also mention it in your terms here that if the quality is good, then we will give the gift card, but majority of the time we just let it slide. And if the customer comes back and purchases, that's more than fine for us. They're not going to use the gift card straight away majority of the time. So once you got all the content, you get notifications from Testimonial.to, and then you just want to send all that creative to your team to upload. And once you get that type of content, you want to essentially create some type of mashups, create different hooks from these sorts of questions you got. Some people really like to mix it up and have quite interesting responses. So take those responses, put it in the first 3 seconds, and try create an interesting and engaging hook and build a story in your video ad that you can essentially run. A lot of skincare brands, a lot of consumables run this type of content, and it crushes for them. You can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars behind this type of content. So I would highly recommend you go ahead and get this recorded and then start executing this playbook. It's a very simple playbook. You can essentially run it on automation and start collecting a lot of raw assets that you can use for your ads.